The Supreme Court's inconsistency in applying its own rules is causing chaos in the legal system. When the justices can't even agree on why they're issuing shadow docket rulings, it creates confusion and undermines the very principles of constitutional democracy. This is the part most people miss. The court's shadow docket, those rush decisions on non-merit cases, isn't just messy, it's actively eroding trust in the judiciary. Carolyn Shapiro's Cases and Controversies series, https://com/category cases and controversies, highlights how the court's rulings and procedures ripple through the law, affecting everything from lower courts to the public's faith in the Constitution. Please note that the views expressed here are those of the contributor and do not represent the official stance of SCOTUSblog or its staff. In July, I argued that the court's flood of shadow docket orders without explanations stems from internal discord. Justices can't even agree on the rationale behind these decisions, which means granting emergency relief is inherently flawed. This isn't just a bureaucratic quirk, it's a systemic problem. In another post, www.scotusblog.com/2025/whose irreparable harm, I critiqued the court's recent decision in Trump versus Casa, https://supremecourt.gov, opinions 24 PDF, 24884-8N59 PDF, where the justices appeared to invent a new, unjustified standard for determining when the government suffers irreparable harm. This standard is critical for obtaining a stay of lower court rulings. Yet it seems to suggest that the government always faces irreparable harm when a court blocks its actions. That's a dangerous precedent. The court's August 21st order on the NIH grant case, www.scotusblog.com.com/Supreme Court allows Trump administration to terminate $783 million in NIH grants linked to DOT initiatives, provides concrete evidence of this trend. Two groups challenged the cancellation of $800 million in grants, arguing that executive orders targeting DEI initiatives were discriminatory. District Judge William Young, a Reagan appointee, called the situation unheard of in terms of racial bias, even labeling the policy as harmful to the LGBTQ community. He issued a preliminary injunction blocking the government from halting the grants. Yet the Supreme Court ignored this entirely. Instead, it issued an opaque order and fractured opinions, granting the administration's request to stay the injunction while preserving a separate part of the lower court's ruling. This confusion is compounded by the voting splits. Only Justice Amy Coney Barrett was in the majority on both parts of the decision. Her solo opinion revealed contradictions. She agreed with some justices that the injunction was appropriate, but voted to stay the grant termination part, aligning with four conservative colleagues. The rest of the justices provided no explanation for their votes, and the entire process took 17 days. A long time for emergency relief, given the court's usual speed on merits cases. This case exemplifies the court's failure to provide clear guidance. For instance, Justice Barrett alone deemed the agency guidelines separable from the grant term. The court's treatment of irreparable harm is equally troubling. In NIH, the justices claimed the plaintiffs couldn't continue research without grants, making the government's financial loss irreparable. But in Department of Education versus California, https://www.supremecourt.gov, opinions 424 PDF.pdf, the court said the opposite. The plaintiffs could keep programs running without funding. This contradiction shows the court is applying its own standards inconsistently. And when it comes to broader factors like the public interest, the court fails to address them, despite their importance under its own precedent. https://supreme.justia.com/cases federal US 556418. The real damage here is the court's refusal to hold itself to the same standards it demands of lower courts. Some justices claim the courts are ignoring the shadow docket. But in reality, it's the court that's disregarding its own history. This is not just a legal mess. It's a crisis of legitimacy. If the court can't even agree on its own rules, how can it expect others to follow them? The answer is clear. It can't. And that's the kind of reckoning the justice system desperately needs.